Hello and welcome to this Lua tutorial. This is a first tutorial in a series explaining the basic mechanics of LunaLua, how you can use it in your levels, and what kind of stuff you might find success in using it for. Before I get into the coding, I want to quickly give a short overview over the editor, just so that you know where to look for stuff and aren't confused. After opening a level via new level, you will find a screen like this, which may have some windows open, may not. I'm starting with this blank slate so that the buttons I click will make sure obvious which window is opened and which isn't. So the first important one is this one, right next to the hoop store. It is the tileset item box, which contains basically all the content you might need. Each category is split up into NPCs, blocks, BGOs, and you can look around here to find stuff you might want. In the custom tab, you can create your own tileset, where you can select which type of object you need, change the sorting so that you sort by ID instead of the name. You can also search by name is standard, but if you change it to search by ID, you can also search by ID, which might be helpful for if you have something custom where you know the ID but not the name. You can also show only the custom stuff. In my level I don't have anything custom right now, and then you just drag stuff over here, and if you save it, you want to give it like a name, a bush, then there is now a bush tileset here, which you can use for quick access in the level. Right. This is the player start point, the little flag here. You will always want to have one of those because without those you can't test. The debugger shows you what kind of objects are in the level, so if I take some blocks here and place them, you will see that the block count starts going up. There are some limits, but they are pretty generous. There's like 20,000 blocks as your limit, 8,000 background objects, 5,000 NPCs, 2,000 warps, and I don't know the limit for physical environment zones like water and quicksand up here. But those are also pretty generous. But if you can, make like big boxes like this instead of just placing these small baby bubbles, because boxes of water are counted by the box and not by the space they take up. So next thing you might want to do is make the section have a background. You go to the little gears here, the section settings, and you can select the background in this drop down. It will also show you a custom background if you have one. The music file shows you like a folder path if you have custom music, and then you have to tick the custom box to immediately jump to custom, or you can pick one of these songs, which you can also play in the editor like this. Right, let's pick a good background. I don't want music here right now. You can also have horizontal wrap. Wrap vertical doesn't work right now in SMBX2, but we plan on implementing that. Off-screen exit, one-way scrolling like in Super Mario Bros. 1 underwater, and you can resize the section like this, which is really helpful, of course. So what else might you want? You, of course, want warps. Click a button here that will create a warp where you can then set the entrance and the exit, and also before and or after doing so you can change what kind of warp it is. The instant pipe and door warp are available to you, and you can, for pipe warps, change the exit direction and entrance direction so that you can create like pipes. Right. Layers are these things here, the block with the other block above it. By making a new layer, you then have that. Put the block on the layer through the context menu, and if you hide the layer is hidden, and you can then use that layer in the events tab, which I have all the way over here to the right, where you can click on these and then see what kind of options are available to you. Auto scroll section is something that only works in the first section you start in per vanilla, but there are Lua options, which I might cover in the future, which make auto scroll in other sections possible. Another helpful tool in the top bar is zooming in and out. You can do this with Alt and the mouse wheel. maybe it might be good to like get a closer look at something, or zooming out in order to zoom across the level quickly. If you find yourself not at 100%, you can always press the one with the 0 on it to zero it out to 100%. You can also use these 4 buttons to jump to a corner of the section. There's undo, which is mapped to Control Z. You can copy paste stuff like you would in any other software, and you can also lock specific stuff. Like now I cannot select anything except for the player anymore, but if I disable the lock on warps, I can grab the warps again. And the properties window for blocks, NPCs, and such show you what kind of stuff you can do, can make with them. One helpful thing here is that some NPCs have some additional properties, like these leapers. The dolphins, for example, can be set to turn around, or use a fixed mode, which means that they jump from the location where they're placed instead of dropping down into water, and have a configurable jump height. Different NPCs have different settings like that. I encourage you to experiment with them and figure out what kind of stuff you might find fun for your own levels. To test the level, you then press F5 and are dropped right in. There are 2 more features I want to tackle. One is the sections, which go from 0 to 20. You might be familiar with them from 1 to 21, but internally in code they are referred to from 0 to 20. So to make life easier for everyone, we just shifted the numbers around by 1. So that 0 is now the first section and 20 is the last section. And the last thing I want to address is this little grid, snap to grid. That's like the auto-align stuff from the old editor, where if you disable it, you can like just drag stuff around without it like freezing in place. And over the edit menu, you can also change the grid alignment if you do have it active, so that you can have more granular placement that still snaps, which is also really helpful. And through this menu, you can create your own LunaLua files, which is something I will tackle in the next video, because now you have an overview of the editor and you might want to experiment with that first before tackling the code itself. So, next video should be linked in the description. I hope you learned something today, and I'll see you next time.